It looks like at that time of the week again, it's STS with DSP. What's going on? It is good to have you. It's good to have you join me. It's been a short week for me. I had a race on Sunday, and then I was out in Ohio up until yesterday, and here I am, ready to shoot the shit with you. Let's get some good mornings going. If you're joining me, do me a favor, make sure you're logged into your Google account. Therefore, you can participate in the YouTube chat, say hi, give me a good morning. Do remember, we're going to be answering questions later. I've got several of you that are joining now. You're my early birds, so I'm looking for you to say good morning. And here we go. We got Steve Eller is in the house, and he says, welcome back to AZ. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. We've got Tongue Biter. Good morning, man. That is quite the handle you got there for YouTube. We got a good morning from Jose, Chicago Taco Authority. It is good to have you, my friend. I don't think you've been on here in a while, so it is good to have you. We're going to talk a little cost, little tariff, little stuff today, because man, I don't know about you, I'm getting whiplash on every time we put a tariff on and take it off. I don't know what's going on. Let's see here. We got a couple more of you joining as we speak. We'll get started here in just a second, but do me a favor, make sure you're logged into your Google account so you can participate in the chat on YouTube. Before my team tells me that, well, I got an audio is good, don't tell me the video is bad, because we know that I have to take the time to figure out how to not go through this other software, go direct to YouTube, whole nother issue. I will get there eventually, but we're here. It's not about the video quality, it's about the information, right? All right, let's see. We've got several of you more that are joining as we speak. Welcome, welcome. We'll probably get started here in just a second. Do remember to be logged into your Google account, so therefore you can participate in the chat. So I'm going to put this down. This is my external monitor, allows me to see where everything is. We will get started here. Yeah, I think we'll get started here. Here we go. Welcome to Shoot the Shit with DSP. STS with DSP happens every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 Eastern time, live on YouTube, travel schedule permitting. We're going to invest about 30 minutes out of your day to get pumped about the upcoming week and get excited about crushing your goals, finding the motivation to be the best you possible. Plus, I'll answer your burning questions. I'm Dave Scott Peters, creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula and your coach. And today, we're going to talk about what to do if the tariff war actually takes effect. If you're just joining me, make sure you log into your Google account so you can participate in the chat, because at the end of this, I'll be answering your questions, so on and so forth, right? So make sure you're logged in. Let's get started. Today, we need to talk about something that could shake up your food cost in a big way. The on-again, off-again tariff war between the US, Canada, and Mexico. With a potential 25% tariff hike looming, this isn't just politics, and I really don't care what side of the political fence you live on. I really don't care. This is about tariffs, and it's about your bottom line, because it's at risk. If you're not preparing now, and I mean right now, you could be scrambling when that bill comes due. This tariff fight has been like a bad sequel that keeps on coming back. The U.S. threatens tariffs multiple times, puts them in place, then gets concessions, pulls back, and reinstates them. And this is causing really chaos in our business, just the business community altogether. But what about restaurants? As of yesterday, after implementing the tariffs again, I think it was on Tuesday, as of yesterday, oh, they're paused now. They're paused for 30 days. There's a 30-day delay. This means we're on borrowed time. Yeah, I don't know that it's a question of if these tariffs are going to hit. It's a question of when. Let's get into what's happening and what you need to do to protect yourself. So what's happening? The U.S. is now facing a tariff challenge. And this one is entirely being driven by the current administration. As of now, the U.S. has proposed 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, which will have a massive impact on the restaurant industry. Let's look at Mexico. A huge chunk of U.S. produce, avocados, tomatoes, peppers, and much more come from Mexico. A 25% tariff means your supplier prices are going to jump. What about Canada? Well, if electricity, gas, and certain food imports get hit, your utilities and key ingredients, well, they're going to get more expensive. How about the supply chain and disruptions? Even if tariffs don't last long, the shock wave that this is going to cause price hikes, delays, panic in all the other industries. What's worse, these tariffs don't just affect direct imports. They create ripple effects throughout the entire supply chain in the US. Even US produced goods, right? We say, oh, they're produced here in the US. Well, they're going to become more expensive because as you manufacture these things, parts come from all over the world. In order to stay competitive, they're going to raise prices. That means everything from packing materials to cleaning supplies could cost more. So, what does this mean for you, the restaurant owner? It means the time to act is now. Listen, you already know margins are razor thin as it is. You can't afford to wait and see what happens. If tariffs stick, food costs will jump. And that's on top of the inflation that's already killing your profits. If you don't negotiate with suppliers now, work on contracts, I mean, right now, you could be left holding the bag when prices skyrocket. So if you know that you're going to buy X pounds of beef for your burgers, if you can get contracted in what's in store in-house right now, because suppliers are going to take, let's say the distributors are going to say, hey, we've got ground beef in and it's coming from Canada, or the cows are coming from Canada, and all of a sudden it's going to go up, but we've already got a supply. But in anticipation of it going up, we're going to raise our prices. But you could get in there and say, I want to lock in my price. If I promise to buy X number of pounds, tons, can I get a locked in price that can take you through this rocky period? Now, we already know your customers are already spending less. So let's be clear. The old way of blindly raising your prices on your menu isn't the only answer. And quite honestly, you shouldn't be doing that. A sudden spike in food costs could wipe out profitability overnight. If you're not controlling portion sizes, labor costs, and overhead, you'll feel the hit much harder than most anybody else. What about delivery apps and third-party services? Well, they're going to squeeze even harder. Like, those commissions are already high. They're not going to adjust their commission rates because your costs went up, meaning you'll be forced to absorb even more costs. This is about being proactive, not reactive. So let's talk about what you can do. What can you do to protect yourself as a restaurant owner? Number one, lock in supplier contracts. Talk with your vendors now. Can you pre-buy, like I talked about, at the current price? Can you lock in bulk rates before those tariffs hit? How about exploring alternative sources? Meaning, can you shift to a domestic supplier if imports are too expensive? Considering signing up for a GPO, you've heard me talk about that. It's a group purchasing organization. This is where you literally pull as an independent with other restaurants to get better negotiated pricing. Now's the time to make sure we supply our members with a recommendation. I don't care who you use. If you want to learn more about it, you can email Steve on my team at steve@davidscottpeters.com and say you'd love to learn about the GPO we use. But again, any one of them, they do the same thing. Number two, you need to get serious about menu engineering. Like, think about it. If 25% tariffs hit avocados or tomatoes, and your menu is dependent on those ingredients, what's going to happen? Right? We need to look at alternate sources. We need to look at, do I need to change my menu? So look at your high margin dishes and plan alternatives for costly items. Focus on seasonal and local ingredients to reduce reliance on imports. Cross-utilize ingredients. Make sure every ingredient on your menu is being used in multiple dishes to minimize waste and cost. How about number three? Evaluate your pricing strategy. Look, you need to use accurate, up-to-date recipe costing cards and your point-of-sale system menu mix to figure out where your food cost is and gives us a chance to know where to price instead of just guessing. You cannot continue this path of just raising prices, knee-jerk reaction because costs are going up, because the restaurant down the street's going up. We as an industry, after COVID, inflation, and all the things that have happened since 2020, we are reaching a level where we may have raised our prices to the limit. For many restaurants, you're done. Unless we change the menu and change what we're offering, we may be at risk of pushing our customers away. And do understand, I'm the person who is very much in your corner about raising your prices on your number 1, 2, or 3 top selling items in each section. But again, so many of you have just knee-jerk reactions, raise your price, that you don't have no idea if you're making money or not. And in fact, you may be outpricing yourself in the market. So let's use recipe cards and menu mix rather than guessing. How about think about test your price increases? Maybe you phase it in. All too often, I work with restaurant owners who have not raised their prices 1 or even 2 years. And so the sticker shock, for some of them, we have to raise the prices, otherwise they're not going to make money. But if you've been raising your prices, say on a quarterly basis, because you look at your recipe cards, you know your menu mix, you know what's happening, maybe we phase in some of our price increases just a little bit slower to reduce the customers, well, sticker shock. How about consider value bundling? Now, this is primarily for my quick serve people. Combos. Like if you hadn't noticed, combination things increase your profit margins because they get that extra sale. They're only saving the consumer about 10 cents on a combo meal, but the reality is it gets them to buy the extras and it gives them perceived value. But more importantly, it gives you ring at the register and volumes can cure a lot of ills. How about number 4? Manage your utilities and other costs. Look, especially those states that are right below Canada, right? Is it Wisconsin, Michigan, trying to think which else, like are getting power directly from Canada right now. Think about what happens when that tariff goes up and they retaliate. Your costs are going to go up. Well, that means every other business that uses their electricity as well is going to start to charge more because these energy tariffs are going to impact your bills, not only your power bill, but things that you buy. So you need to find efficiencies and savings now. That could be small changes like LED lights or equipment maintenance or even smarter energy management. It all adds up when margins get tight. You could look into your government or local government, state or federal, and see if there's any energy efficiency grants or programs that'll help offset the cost of bringing in these power-saving devices. Number 5, you need to stay ahead of the panic. If you start adjusting now, you're ahead of your competitors. And I guarantee you, they're going to be scrambling later. Let me be also very clear. The worst thing you could do is nothing. Like, we've had several of you bring up the tariffs for months now. And I was slow to react to it. I'm going to be dead straight with you. Slow to react to it, thinking there's no freaking way we would be dumb enough to create a tariff war. And again, I don't care about what political side of the fence you live on. The fact of the matter is, we all know that we pay for it as consumers. Well, it trickles down. If those avocados come in with a 25% price increase, you think the Ciscos of the world are going to eat that? No, they're going to promote it. They're going to provide that increase to you. Do you think you can afford to eat a 25% increase on your costs? No, you're going to have to raise prices or not use those items or find another supply. So again, if you do nothing, that's the worst thing you can do. How about communicate with your team? And I mean the whole restaurant. Every team member needs to understand what's going on and that all these little changes we need to make are going to add up to make sure everybody has a job and we can keep our prices within range that our customers can come in. So tell the team what's happening. Train them to reduce waste. Train them to upsell effectively and maintain all the efficiencies you put in place, from labor costs to food costs and so on. How about number 6? Consider secondary revenue streams. This could be important. We did this in COVID. Remember, we called it pivot. And if we heard the word pivot one more time, it's like we were on the show Friends, and they were bringing up the couch. It was pivot, pivot. We're getting sick and tired of hearing the word. Well, now's the time to start using that word again. Maybe not to the point where we're selling toilet paper, but if tariffs drive costs up, you may need additional revenue streams to survive, to bring in that revenue to offset your labor cost. So think about catering, maybe meal kits or prepackaged to-go options. These can help you increase your per customer spend. Loyalty programs are big. If my friends here at America's Best Restaurant are on, throw your contact information into the chat right now. I love it's now called Driver. It used to be Repeat Returns, but America's Best Restaurants purchased it. I think it's the #1 loyalty software out there. But we need loyalty, that we get our customers to come back more often and spend more. This is going to be even more important as people start to pull back. I've even had restaurants put in subscription services where you join the club and you get monthly benefits. Anytime you can create a stable income, even when prices fluctuate, you've got a better grip on making sure you can survive this. So look, restaurant pros, I want to be clear. This is not fear mongering. We've been talking about this on and off on these lives as questions have been brought up week after week after week. And again, I apologize. I didn't think that it would really, really go into effect. But the fact of the matter is this. It's about being prepared. If tariffs don't hit, great. You've built a stronger business. If they do, you won't be caught off guard. This is the time to strategize, prepare, and execute. Tariffs or not, the restaurant business is changing. And for those who adapt now, you're going to be the ones who survive, or better yet, thrive. So take action now. Talk to your vendors. Look at your menu. Secure pricing. Be the restaurant owner who's ready, not the one scrambling when prices go up. That's it for today's STS with DSP. So drop in questions in the comments and let's talk. And I'm going to apologize. I didn't hit the little button here to bring my camera in while I was doing that. You know, the fact of the matter is, you still got the information. So now I've got to get this monitor work again so I can see your questions. Let's see here. We've got some more people join. We've got Michael. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you, Michael Shane. Angie Brown is in the house. What is going on? Good morning to you. Peter's in the house. Good morning from Connecticut. I like me a little Connecticut. I went to school in Boston. Robert's here. Good morning to you. Mother's Cantina. Ryan James is in the house. Good morning. Let's get ready for St. Patty's Day. Yeah, moneymaker for many of you. And then we've got two Mother's Cantina. Good morning. Let's get it. What? You did it twice. You're killing me. All right. So let me do that. All right. I also want to point out, Ryan's been after me. You're going to notice up in that corner, there's a QR code. If ever you want to jump on a discovery call with Ryan, learn more about what our coaching program's like, there's no strings attached. It takes 20, 30 minutes on the long side. Ryan can learn more about you and your business, tell you what we do, see if it helps you with any of your challenges. We're not right for everybody. I just like to think we are. So what kind of questions do you guys have for me? This is now your time to ask me questions. We have, let's see, how are we doing on time? We've got about 10 minutes. I usually try and keep this to 30 minutes so that you can get back to your day. It is Friday. So for many of you on the East Coast, what time is it now? It's almost time for lunch. So you're getting ready for that. Now we're going to have a time change here in Arizona this weekend. Won't change for you on the East Coast, won't change for you on the West Coast, but for those of us in Arizona, instead of 9 o'clock in the morning, it's 8 o'clock in the morning for me. Here we go. Peter says, I don't have a lot of storage space for my perishables. I can stock up on dry goods, but I'm limited for fresh stuff. So I really don't want you to stock up. All right, so let's talk about this. I want you to get contracted pricing if you can. Now, this is not for everybody. You've got to have volumes to be able to get this. But the fact of the matter is, if you bring in too much stock, this is the Costco, Sam's Club mentality. I'm going to go buy a nuclear holocaust worth of toilet paper. Man, look at me. And you come out and it's a super sized TP. I'm saving money. I'm saving up. But the reality is you still are spending more money. And right now, what pays your bills? Peter, cash or profits? It's cash. So my goal in this message, and I'm glad you asked the question, is not for you to run out and stock up. It's to hopefully get a contracted price. Now, produce, there's not much you can do, even if you had storage. The fact of the matter is it's dated product. So I really don't want that in my place for more than 3 or 4 days. But when we talk about maybe paper supplies, depending on how much money you have in the bank, is it worth stocking that? But it's more so, hey, vendor, if I promise to buy this, can I get this price? And they store it. They purchased it. You don't have to. So we'll hopefully want to be clear on that message. Let's see here. Tongue Biter says, just started in a new company as an executive chef. Congratulations. This week. Everything is a mess. What do I tackle first to get things rolling in the right direction? Well, Tongue Biter, you'll have to give me your name. It's so strange to refer to you as Tongue Biter. Congratulations on your job. And I love the question. I'm going to tell you the foundation to great leadership in the kitchen starts with cleanliness and pride. So I would start with one, doing a massive, because if it's a mess, I'm going to assume that your gaskets are dirty and broken, and they haven't been cleaning underneath the equipment that's on wheels for a reason. Like, deep clean the shit out of the kitchen. Then implement opening and closing side work checklists for every position and ensure they're being followed. What this is going to do is, one, show that you give a shit. Number two, it's going to instill a sense of pride in the kitchen, because that's important. We have to be proud about our work area and what we do. Then the checklists allow you to enforce the same policies and procedures on all of your line cooks to make sure that it's fair, they know what the rules are, it's standard, and you can keep that level of cleanliness and your pride up. That's where I would start. From there, I'm going to tell you, you've got to learn all the dishes. You got to kind of lay back a little bit, learn each station and see where the problems are. Just take your notes and have a plan on when it's time to start to make the bigger changes. From there, we need to implement a key item tracker to make sure that we don't have something stolen on the shift, 5 to 15 items counted before, what was prepped after, the math compared to the POS system, and we need a waste tracker. We need to start to see the mistakes that are being made on a daily basis, from prep to over ordering to dropping to burning to you name it, so that on a daily basis you can make changes and impact the food cost today. Those would be my short list for you, Chef. Congrats again. Michael says it is 11:19 Eastern. Yes, it is. 2 hours difference. Soon it's going to be 3 for me. Who is this? This is Estrella. Here we go. Sorry, it's so small. I'm going to use my gutters. What do you think will happen, and how everything that's going on for the rest of the year, lower sales, higher costs, etc.? I don't know that it's really any different than it's been since 2020. Have we not had the same frickin' challenges? They just kind of exploded in 2020 and have stayed this way. Inflation has not been a friend. Our costs keep going up. Minimum wage keeps going up. We now have tech stacks that we didn't have in the past, so we're adding services. This is why it's so important to be operating on a budget. Now, if you've been following for any length of time, Ryan will tell you the 2 most important systems that any restaurant should have are budgets and recipe cost cards. By the way, what do you think the 2 systems most restaurants never have? Budgets and recipe cards. Why? They're so hard. Boo frickin' who? You're in the toughest business I know. So if I have a budget, I can plan what changes I need to make. I can see if my labor cost is out of control, and I can start to analyze my dollars per labor hour work and make those changes. I could see my labor costs out of control, but it's my menu that's driving it. That the prep is out of control, or a station's getting just pummeled on a Friday or Saturday night, and I need to move or re-engineer the menu to move where some of that production's happening. Maybe I'm finding my food costs is out of control. I need a new menu. That I'm going to keep some of my core items, but I've got to make a dramatic change. Instead of running a 38% food cost, I have to run in the low 20s. See, if I have a budget, I can proactively handle all of these challenges. And that's the message I need everybody to understand. It's not, we are not victims to all the bullshit that's going on. It affects us, don't get me wrong. But when you become the leader your restaurant needs and you put a budget in place, you are proactively making decisions every single month. You are changing that plan every single month. You are in control of your business. And that's my answer. It's not an easy one, but that's my answer. And then you asked, what is a good food cost percentage for catering orders? Well, that's a big question. I'm just gonna give you the short answer and long answer. For catering, true catering, not pickup orders that are more than 10 people. Catering, you're doing something special. You've got trays of things, you've got a plated, whatever it may be. It's a true catering order. I shoot for the low 20s, 22, 24%. But I'm going to tell you that I'm willing to raise the food cost if I know I'm making money on my fees. I'm charging for all the labor that's going out there. So it's kind of a moving scale, but generally speaking, low 20s. Tongue Biter says, my name is Lena. Lena, I would have never guessed that it was Alina. I was thinking of John or something like that. Lena, it's nice to meet you. Again, it just kind of makes me laugh. All right, how we doing on time? We've got a few minutes. If anybody has one last question, type it in there. I'm happy to answer it for you. I believe, let me double check. Let me double check here. I believe next Friday. There is a Shoot the Shit next Friday for sure. And before we go, I want to remind you, I've got that QR code up there. You can go to dsp.coach/ oh, here, I've got it right here. You can either use that QR code or you can go to dsp.coach/Ryan if you want to book a discovery call, learn more about what we do. We'd love to work with each and every one of you, but we also understand that timing's not right for everyone. Things are going on. But if you're worried about these tariffs and you're worried about rising costs and you're worried about labor costs, you don't know the first thing about, where to start in this process, that's what we do. I've been doing this this July will be 22 years. So I'm coming up, going to be starting my 23rd year as a restaurant coach. I can tell you, I've seen a lot. I learn every single day. But the basic principles behind what we do has not changed in 50 years. What has changed is our costs are going up, and we need to learn how to operate on a lower prime cost without giving up guest satisfaction, without cutting product quality, without going against our core values. Well, there are no more questions, so I'm going to take it that you guys are finished with me. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I look forward to seeing you next Friday on Shoot the Shit. Go out there, kick some ass, everybody. Peace.